Welcome to News Laundry Chota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
Hello, अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं भूलते हैं. I am your host this week because Abhinandan is in Jaipur. He's actually in fact on his way back from Jaipur and he'll be here by the afternoon, so we thought we'd give him a break. So you'll have to bear with me for this episode. We're recording this podcast on a Thursday afternoon. It's about 3:30 p.m. And I just have a few announcements to make before I introduce the panel and we go into the headlines. We have a new NL Sena project. A lot of you have complained about News Laundry not having an app. And when we did have an app for whatever little brief time, it really sucked. And all of you, this has been a perennial complaint from all of you कि भाई app नहीं है. What sort of a media organization, website are you that you don't have an app? We are finally getting an app. And you can help us get one sooner and quicker. And you can fast track the process of getting our app if you contribute to our new NL Sena project, which will go towards us developing this app. As you all know, developing an app is resource intensive, especially when features range from having a podcast player to multiple payment gateways. And we haven't been able to do that all these years because of limited resources, and we have a very tiny tech team. So if you sign up for NL Sena to fund our iOS and Android apps, we'd be able to finally do this and do this quickly, fastly and smartly. So please become a patron. If you do become a patron and if you do decide to power this NL Sena project, you'll get beta access to the app too. So it's win-win. So please check out our NL Sena project, the latest one, and contribute if you want News Laundry ka app on your phone. Like Abhinandan had said last week, we have a Discord service which is finally up. We have about 1,000 subscribers there already. So it's a big subscriber community, bigger than what we have on WhatsApp. And unlike WhatsApp, Discord is linked to our subscription database, so you will lose access depending on your subscription status. Discord is slightly new and maybe a lot of you are not familiar with it, but once you familiarize yourself with it, it's way more convenient. If you want information on how to access our Discord tab, click on the user icon at the top right of our website. Then go on to my profile and then on to NL Discord tab. You'll find all the details there. Last but not the least, we really need to spread the word with Hafta. We have a steady base of listeners, but we really want to grow our listeners. We want more and more people to listen to us. So you can help as an existing Hafta listener. You can help us spread the word. You can do this by clicking on gift story on the Hafta story on our website. It'll generate a unique link that you can share with your friends. You can basically gift a Hafta to a non-subscriber. So you gift a Hafta episode to a non-subscriber. It's a fantastic gift. So for all birthdays and anniversaries, please do consider doing this. You'll really help us go a long way. With that, I'll introduce the panel. We have with us a very, very special guest. Most of you who are frequent News Laundry visitors, viewers, watchers, readers know him really well. And otherwise also, if you don't come to News Laundry, which you should, you'd still know him quite well because he's a very prolific writer. And also now he's quite visible on various YouTube channels. So we have with us Vivek Kaul. Hi, Vivek.
Hi, Manisha.
Those of you who don't know him, though I think those are very few people, I'll still give an introduction. He's worked as a senior positions at the Daily News and Analysis and the Economic Times. He's the author of 4 books, including the best-selling Easy Money trilogy on the history of money and banking and how that caused the financial crisis that started in 2008 and is still on. So Vivek is with us because we're going to be talking about the budget. And of course, we have our in-house team of Mehraj. Hello, Mehraj. Jayashree from Chennai.
Hello.
And our very own Raman Kirpal, sir.
Hi.
Hello, sir. Let's get the headlines first, Mehraj. It's been a very hectic news week for all of us. Very, very hectic.
Working through the weekend also.
Yeah.
So the union budget for 2021-2022 was presented on February 1st, and the sort of a big takeaway was that education took a big hit. Its proposed spending was cut by about 6,000 crore. Vivek will obviously tell us a lot more about this, and there was some controversy around how much exactly the budget for healthcare has been increased. Apparently it's more than 100%, but there is some contention whether sanitation and stuff should be included in that. Like you were saying, this was a heavy news week, and one of the reasons was that in India, Twitter froze a lot of accounts of a couple of farm union accounts, Caravan, some journalist accounts, apparently because they tweeted out using a hashtag that the government apparently found was
the hashtag is Modi
violated
plans
the laws.
farmers genocide. That was the hashtag.
Yes, but it was the freeze was done away with immediately, and for that the government has threatened to jail Twitter. I don't know what that means.
They
whether
said,
want to
be prepared to go to jail if you don't
Yeah.
comply. But there's a lot of, there's not much clarity on what exactly happened. So maybe we can discuss this a bit in detail.
Yes, and related to this, Mandeep Punia and Dharmendra, two journalists, were detained while they were covering the protests, farmer protests at Singhu. Dharmendra was released, but Mandeep Punia was held overnight, and he's been booked under a couple of penal sections, and he's been granted bail now. He has come out and said why he was picked up and all that. We'll discuss that later. Something really funny happened today itself. A lot of English and Hindi news platforms in India published reports saying that the United States has come out in support of new farm laws. But the thing is, they republished ANI and PTI reports which said this, and some of the, as is the practice, some of the platforms just changed the headline. But if you read that statement, that's not exactly what they're saying. So, I mean, they, not explicitly at least, they might be sort of in support of the laws, and I presume they are, because what they have said is they welcome steps that would improve the efficiency of Indian markets and attract greater private sector investment. But as usual, a lot of Indian news outlets got it wrong. I mean, basically, they didn't bother to even read the statement themselves. Then another controversy, Rihanna, the pop singer. Is she a pop singer? Or
Yeah,
what
she's a pop singer.
Okay. Okay. No, I know she's a singer. I don't know if she's pop or what.
According to Kangna, though, she's a pop porn singer or porn pop singer. I don't know. That was her
So
terminology.
she sent out a tweet in support of the farmers' protests, and it
Yeah.
caused a lot of consternation in the a section of the Indian
Yeah.
Twitter, who thought it was, I mean, she was sort of interfering in India's
International
internal
conspiracy.
affairs. Yeah. And the same Greta Thunberg, the Swedish climate change activist, she did the same thing, and she was also picked on.
And the MEA sent out a strongly worded notice saying that you should be careful with your social media utterances, and they put out a hashtag India Together, India Propaganda. And then as a response, we had our own campaign,
Yeah.
our Rashtravadi campaign within India, with actors like Akshay Kumar and Sachin Tendulkar and Sunil Shetty and all these guys tweeting with that hashtag.
And the farmer protests continue as they have for the last 2.5 months. The latest is that the police have sort of barricaded these protest sites in Tikri and Singhu. And after the violence of Republic Day, some people who police claim to be local residents who were frustrated with the protest, they attacked the farmers at Singhu. But the farmers obviously say, and we have reports from the ground saying that they were anything but local residents. Most of the reports that we have got is they were people associated with the BJP and the RSS. And when after the violence happened in Singhu on 29th of January, instead of going after the attackers, the police reportedly picked up 24 farmers. There was a citizens' march yesterday at Delhi's Mandi House in support of protesting farmers. They were, as usual, prevented from going further by the police. We had reporters on the ground, and if you want to see what happened, you can go to our social media accounts and see everything, all the videos and ground reports. The Home Ministry has come out with a report which says that in the last 3 years, cyber cases of hate and sexual exploitation, they have counted, and there have been around 93,000 of them. The Uttar Pradesh, related to the news we were talking about earlier about the Twitter freeze on a lot of accounts, Uttar Pradesh police and Madhya Pradesh police have booked the editors of the Caravan, Anantnath and Vinod Jose, along with the politicians Shashi Tharoor and journalists Rajdeep Sardesai and Mrinal Pande, for reporting on the death of a farmer during the tractor rally in Delhi on January 26. So the background is that a farmer died during the protests. There have been a lot of allegations, including by the family of the person, Navreet Singh, his name is. They have said that he was shot allegedly by the police, and then his tractor overturned and he died. But the police insist that there was no bullets were fired. He just his
We
tractor
discussed
overturned.
this at length
yeah.
last hafta, so you can also check that out.
Yes. 96% of the sedition cases filed against 405 people after BJP's 2014 victory, shows new database prepared by Article 14 website. Bail can be granted in UAPA cases if right to speedy trial is violated, says Supreme Court. And we'll have to wait and see if at all this is implemented. Myanmar's military seizes power in coup after detaining leader Aung San Suu Kyi and ruling party politicians.
While a gentle lady did aerobics. Aerobics, not aerobics, yeah.
Apparently that was like
No, it's correct. It was just that her shadow was falling below the platform.
India falls to 53rd position in EIU's Democratic Index. India has slipped 2 places to 53rd position in the 2020 Democracy Index global ranking, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit, which said the democratic backsliding by authorities and crackdowns on civil liberties has led to a further decline in the country's ranking.
Okay. See, what has happened in India in the last 15 years is that the importance of the budget for the media has gone up dramatically, because the media, by this I mean, television channels, newspapers, and now even digital publications, the media needs events to sell to advertisers. So budget has become this one big event, and around that we have always had this habit of announcing a lot of policies on the budget day. Now these policies have got nothing to do with the budget per se, but because they are announced as a part of the finance minister's long speech, people tend to sort of club it along with the budget. Now in this, what has got lost is or maybe that was never really there in the minds of people, is the primary aim of the government presenting the budget. Now why does the government present the budget? One is obviously it tells the nation that this is the amount of money that we plan to spend next year, and this is the amount of money we plan to earn. This is the way we plan to earn it, and this is the difference between what we plan to earn and what we plan to spend, and that is the fiscal deficit. The basic aim of the budget is to transparently present budget, the government accounts, the accounts of the government, because the nation needs to know. I mean, we need to know how our taxes are being spent. We need to know where the money is going. We need to know the deficit, whether how the government is fulfilling the deficit. I mean, so what was happening was in the last few years, the numbers related to the Food Corporation of India, and this is not like a small amount, some 2 crores here or there, but an amount running into lakhs of crores, were not being declared properly. Now, what was essentially happening was that when the Food Corporation of India, what does it do? It basically buys rice and wheat directly from farmers, and it sells it at a certain price, and it sells it at a very low price to the public distribution system, which are the ration shops. Now, the difference in price is the subsidy that the government essentially sort of gives the FCI. Now, it makes an allocation in the budget every year under food subsidies. Over the years, what was happening was that the allocation under food subsidies was never enough to sort of take care of the actual subsidies being offered by FCI. So like last year, the subsidies that were offered were around 3.18 lakh crore, whereas the government paid FCI just 75,000 crore. And the remaining was borrowed from what we call the National Small Savings Fund, where all the money that we invest in the small savings schemes ends up. So essentially, by doing this, the government was under-declaring its fiscal deficit because the money was technically not leaving the government account. It was not accounted for as an expenditure. Now, if you are, if a corporate were to do something like that, there would be legal cases against it the very next day. So then the main aim of the government budget, is the presentation of the financial accounts in the most correct and the most accurate way. And that was not being done for, I think, from 2006-7 or 2007-8 onwards. So that has sort of, and if you look at the food subsidy number, it has ballooned from 1.16 lakh crores, which was the budgeted estimate, to 4.22 lakh crores, which is the revised estimate. So it's shot up by close to 3 lakh crores. So that is, and that's not the complete part. There is a certain amount that will be paid next year as well. So in that, they have managed to clean up the budget, clean up the expenditure side of the budget, and that I think was a huge thing because it hadn't happened for a very long time. So
the Delhi police, they decided to not allow journalists to cover this farmers' protest. Why? what they have done, see, normally what happens, the practice is that wherever there is a government function, like Prime Minister rally or something big, or you have, entry into the government offices, you have accreditation given to the journalists. Now they are asking for that accreditation card.
PIB card.
So PIB card. So that Press of Information Bureau card. Now, normally the ground reports are done by the young reporters who have just entered the profession, 2 years, 3 years they have spent. So they are not, I mean, the senior ones, the ones who, the PIB card holders, they are not the ones who go to the field. So they just applied that tactics, and now they are stopping the journalists as well. In this particular case, the Punya, when he asked that uncomfortable question to the police wala, he immediately asked him, where is your card? So that's how it began.
Yeah, it seems like this is a new thing कि card दिखाओ और ID अगर big media house की नहीं है या PIB नहीं है तो you're not a journalist.
PIB or even big house, I saw that NDTV
guys, was also not allowed.
They were also not allowed.
Yeah.
So they are picking up, it's an open fact that Ministry of Information already knows that which are the, media groups siding with them and which are the ones which are not siding with them. So that list, it appears that the Delhi police has that list.
I was just going to say that if you're not a Delhi journalist, it's impossible to get that card. And you have so many outstation journalists coming into Delhi to cover various things. So what do you expect them to do? Also, with respect to Mandi Punya, I think we should mention that I think when he got bail, the judge said that, so this scuffle or whatever that supposedly or allegedly took place, that was at some 6 o'clock in the evening. But the FIR and everything was only filed at 1 a.m. So there was that entire gap of 7 hours where they just held on to him. So whether or not he scuffled with somebody and that is what led to this happening, I think this is just yet another story in a very, very long list of intimidatory tactics against journalists. I mean, this week itself, we've seen almost a case or some sort of story every day or every other day. So
not just narrative, it's like this general tendency of lawlessness which has sort of always sort of bubbled under the surface, but which is now all in the open. Because a policeman is stopping a journalist from going there because he knows he's not accountable. Nobody can haul him up for it. His people, the bosses, will only like give him shabashi, right? Same thing with the politicians. Same thing with the people who are going and attacking the farmers because the police is standing by. Same thing with the people who went after the farmers that day, right? There are people, I mean, the police is right now laying a siege to the farmers. They're putting up barricades, they're putting up permanent barricades, nails and all that stuff. That used to happen in the medieval times when you laid a siege to a fort. You'd starve and just like crush the sort of opposition. They're doing this to their own people. Why? Because they can. And there's nobody to hold them accountable.
I am shocked at, I mean, it seems very stupid to keep on saying it again and again. I'm shocked at what's happening on TV news. But I'm really shocked. Yesterday, the full 24 hours given to one tweet by Rihanna. For those of you who don't have context, Rihanna just tweeted one thing. Why are we not talking about this? #farmers protest. Bas. Or ek CNN News 18 ka, she'd put an article which talked about the internet ban. That's literally it. There were others like Mia Khalifa, Greta Thunberg, Nina Harris, then Lily, a YouTuber, also tweeting about this. Turns out that this was part of a global campaign, which is fine. Most Twitter campaigns are usually coordinated and, you know, they're all kind of planned. That's how activism. That's a part of activism.
It's called organizing.
Actually.
It's been going on since the Industrial Revolution.
But anyway, Greta also tweeted out a toolkit, and then most of our news anchors took that toolkit. Arna was like, it's a conspiracy, we have unearthed it. In 3 languages, directions are being given in Portuguese and English. And now he's at least saying on live TV that as I'm reading this, 100 people are editing this Google document. Anyway, I'm really stunned at all the coverage. And of course, there was a lot of schoolboy type high school jokes around Mia Khalifa. Sambit Patra was like, Mia Khalifa, who knows, who is she? Rahul Gandhi, meets her every time he's on his foreign trip. So lots of crap.
That's the thing. In fact, if you see since 2014, Modi and his government has given a lot of attention to the social media, the communication through social media. If you look at since 2014, the entire, radio has been controlled. The media, by and large, has been controlled. And any small thing happens on social media, or they do the micromanagement. So the Modi government always does the micromanagement. It's the same thing has happened here. In fact, many of the reporters who cover MEA, they were saying that even the draft issued by MEA is not actually written by the IFS officers or the diplomats. It seems to have come, directly from the PMO, and they were just forced to issue it.
What I found funny was like the same people who are crying, this is our internal matter, don't speak about it, and blah, blah, blah. They're the same people who spent like several nights going on about how Modi was saying, ab ki baar Trump sarkar.
Yeah.
Same people who every single night talk about Pakistan.
Oh, they can't. The news to puri nahi hoti if we don't say Pakistan.
Exactly,
once.
yeah.
And also,
And as for
same people that every time, Trump had anything good to say about Modi, like he's India's father and all that nonsense,
Yeah.
it would be like, ab to matlab thappa lag gaya hai. So,
I mean, I'd love to say that they're smart enough to do the former, but to be very honest, I think they're so stupid that they are just doing the second. I mean, literally, they are outraging because they're angry that a pop star has criticized the government, which is insane. Like, so I saw this meme on Twitter, which I think really summed up how the government and right-wing Twitter responded to Rihanna's tweet. It's of a person furiously conducting Google searches, and the searches are Rihanna's parents Muslim? Are there any anti-Hindu songs by Rihanna? Is Rihanna a supporter of Pakistan? Like, and I say this as a joke, but Google Trends, I think, later showed that the most popular search strings at the time were, is Rihanna Muslim? And what is Rihanna's religion? So,
Because Rihanna does sound like a very Muslim
but a
name.
lot of anchors were calling her Rehana instead of Rihanna. So Rehana to fir becomes a Muslim
Obviously,
name.
and technically Rihanna is a Hindu word as well, like it's a Sanskrit name. So anyway, and then also the kind of conspiracy theories that followed were insane, that she'd been paid to do it. I mean, especially when this was very swiftly followed by our Indian celebrities, our so-called celebrities, copy pasting and lining up like children to chant what they've been told to chant. I mean, Sunil Shetty tagged the BJP vice president in his tweet. Lata Mangeshkar didn't even bother to type out the tweet. She took a screenshot of whatever she had been sent and she posted it. And the government propaganda in this case was essentially, hi, I'm a celebrity, but please don't fall for propaganda by other foreign celebrities. This would be very funny if it wasn't such a strong indication of how broken our country is. I think it's just extremely sad. Also, I want to mention how horrifying it was that after Rihanna's tweet, right-wing Twitter got the phrase Chris Brown to trend in India. Chris Brown being her ex-boyfriend who inflicted domestic violence on her. And they also tweeted out pictures of Rihanna's face after she'd been beaten up by Chris Brown and saying how they're proud of him and they wish that he was back and all that. So
that's just the scum. I mean, this is the scum of the...
Yeah, so it shows the level of hate and anger like everywhere.
I don't even know what. I mean, you have to be really a worthless scum to be doing something like that. I mean, your life has to be really...
All of you listening in, the Chota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing. Because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.